Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. There's just way too many guys out there that have emasculated themselves. And
Good
I don't
point.
know, what do they think they're going to get further with these feminists by
Yep.
being that way, or what's the deal?
Yep. I was just having that conversation with one of my buddies, and that's what he was saying. It's exactly what he was saying. He was men nowadays are playing that feminist card because there's men feminists. Like our prime minister in Canada is a feminist.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me when you see the type of person that he is. You're a feminist. Yeah, sure, I can see that. Yeah, that explains a lot. But yeah, I think that men, well, at least that's what my friend says. I don't know about that. I'm not sure that's true. I think it's just a reason, but I think men are just effeminate because they're being raised by women with no strong male figure around. Even if the dad's there, it's not really a man that's going to show them what a man is. Plus, they go to look at the school system. Most of the school system I think it's 85 or 90% of teachers are women. So we have a bunch of little boys that are being taught by women, that are being treated like women. And if they misbehave because they're pumped with testosterone, just like little boys are supposed to be, they want to roughhouse, they want to go play outside, they want to be rough with each other, they want to push, they want to shove, they want to do what men do, they want to mess around because that's what we do. There's a good reason we love sports, that there's a good reason there's a lot of violence in our sport, because this is what we are. We channel that energy through our sports, through our martial arts, and then we wonder why they're misbehaving when we're removing all of the places that they're capable of just being themselves. And instead of understanding that, we pump them full of ADHD medication, and we are raising our boys to be little girls pumped with drugs. So it's no wonder that as they grow old, they are confused. They are very effeminate. So is it true that men do it on purpose now in order to be more desirable by those feminists? Possibly. But as my best friend said, he's like, I will refrain from using the exact words that he said, but he has said multiple times that every single feminist he's ever slept with wanted a real man.
it I don't really spend a lot of time on social media,
Sure.
but I do watch reaction videos on YouTube,
Yep.
and there's all these feminists that are coming on now, and they're crying because they can't find a man.
Yeah.
They're getting to that point where they may not be able to have children anymore, that age where it's just not healthy to have children.
You should send those to me, by the way. Send me those
I'll-
videos because I do reaction videos all the time.
I'm gonna try to look them up for you.
Because those, I love it. I love those type of videos you're talking about.
There was one, this lady came on, and it really broke my heart because she's like, I listened to all of y'all. You told me to be strong and independent and that men were awful. She says, but now I'm lonely and
Yep.
I can't get a man, and I'm desperate. If you want a woman that will cook and clean for you and treat you like a king, I don't care what you look like. Just contact me. I want to be married. I want someone in my life that I can share my life with. And a woman should be able to pick a good man. And I think that the feminists nowadays, they don't really have anything to fight for, per se. Not like the old days when they were fighting for the rights to vote and to be able to work and all that. Okay, I get that. Okay, I understand that. But what rights do women not have that is equal to a man?
In North America,
rights?
I would argue that they have the upper hand. I would argue that women do have the upper hand on men when it comes to at least the justice system. Try to find a job today. If there's a woman that's as qualified as you, by default, they have quotas now.
Yeah.
So chances are she's going to get the job over you. We get women now becoming firefighters because they have quotas.
Yep.
And I remember I was in El Paso maybe a month ago. I was smoking a cigar. I'm a big fan of cigars, and we're at a cigar shop, my girlfriend and I, a cigar lounge. Sorry, we're having a cigar, and these two young men show up, like mid-20s. One of them's a fireman, and I'm like, "Would you work with a woman?" The dude is about 6'2", about 200 pounds, 220 pounds. What do you think he said? You think he wants his life that add 60, 70 pounds of weight? So you're almost 300 pounds. I'm 200 pounds and I work out every day. I would have problems dragging somebody that's 300 pounds out of a burning place. But see, again, they're being taught that. Those women are being taught that they are men's equal everywhere. And then as I was saying about the statistics earlier, and if I'm not mistaken, it's 3 times more. 3 times more women with no children in their 30s. They will have 3 times more depressions than women that already have 3 times more depressions than men. And you wonder why? Because you're going against your nature. You are going against what your biology is telling you to be. It's literally coded in your DNA that your job as a biological individual is to bear children. That's your job. Then to take care of them. Why do you think you're so empathic? Why do you think that you're so loving by nature? Can you imagine having a child having to deal with this for 9 months and not wanting to kill it when it came out? Like, again, I say this as a joke, but as a man, I can't even imagine that. Yet, ask most women, they're like, "Oh, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever been through." You know what? Good for you. Thank God thank God that women exist. I would not want that role, believe me. But why deny it? Every single human being that has ever lived came from a woman. They have the most important job on this world, to reproduce, to bear children. That is the most important job that anyone can have. Yet today, it's not enough. Somehow being able to give life is not enough. It's nuts. It is completely crazy that we live in a world where women believe that that is not enough, that they need more. It's astonishing.
That has a lot to do with why society is breaking down like it is.
100%. 100%.
It's the roles, and I can just hear people screaming at us already. But honestly,
I get that all the time.
men, it's a fact. Your bone density, your muscle strength.
Yep.
All these things are inherent in the majority of men.
Yep.
And that's why they have the job of that fireman who has to go through a burning building carrying this huge hose. And I mean, have you ever tried to stretch those hoses out and hold on to it when you're spraying water? You got to have some muscle on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but a small woman is not going to be able to go and do that. Now, I don't know if you're Gina Carano, you might be able to, but I mean, that's an exception, and there's not very many exceptions. That's why it's called an exception, because there's not very many of them. And that's not to be mean. It's just, that's the facts.
It's a reality. It is a reality that has been around forever. But now we believe that men are capable of bearing children. This is the world we live in now. We are so deluded that we believe that a man can get pregnant. You can have a beard and call yourself Mike all you want. You ain't a woman. You're not a man, sorry.
Right.
You are a woman. Only women can bear children. This is a fact. This is a fact. And guess what? A transgender woman cannot have children unless she's providing the sperm.
If she somehow developed a womb,
she would be something to be studied. But it's just it just blows my mind that those simple truths are just not enough. Yet the numbers will show it. The psychology behind it will prove it. Women are not happy if they don't have children.
Well,
It's amazing. It's amazing.
have
Amazing.
have you seen that video with Chelsea Handler? She thinks she's a comedian, and
Oh,
she's talking about
she
her.
thinks.
She's talks about how she wakes up in the morning without children. She sees at 6 o'clock in the morning, so she, pardon my language, but she masturbates and then goes back to sleep, eats a edible cookie, and goes on a trip and does all this stuff. She's just so happy the whole day. But is that reality? Are you really happy? How are you going to tell other people that they're going to be happy if they don't have children?
It's, again, there's exceptions. Maybe that comedian is an exception. I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. The fact that if she consumes, I understand mind altering drugs. I use them in my meditation practice in order to get connected with different things, but it is not something that you're supposed to use on a daily basis to make you feel better. There's no difference between somebody that eats edibles all the time and an alcoholic. An alcoholic is not happy. Let's not
Exactly.
let's agree on something here. If
Mm-hmm.
you're always looking to have an altered state of mind, there is something wrong. You don't like what or who you are. If chances are, especially as a woman, if you tend to sleep around, it's probably that you know that you're not that valuable. Arguably, those men are not good men because they wouldn't be touching you. And this, and again, it goes back to the woman that you were talking about earlier, saying that she wants a man and she's ready to do the more traditional role, if you will. She doesn't even care about who he is or what he looks like. She just wants to companionships. She just wants to be with someone. She wants somebody in her life to kind of complement who she is because she's lonely. That woman was lied to her whole life. And now she's paying the consequences. She's paying the price for those decisions now. She's facing the consequences. And unfortunately, there's more and more women like that. And the hardest truth, and this is one that women are going to start realizing as they grow older, women have value in their 20s because it's attached to their biology. Women from 18 to 25 are as valuable as they get because this is when they're the most fertile. But starting to 25, it starts dipping and dipping. Every year you become less and less valuable because you're less and less capable of bearing life. There's more problematic that are going to arise. And for men, it's the complete opposite. Men are useless in their 20s. They start getting value in their 30s, but they start really getting values in their 40s and their 50s because men are, if you look at the two first thing that women look for in a long-term relationship when it comes to men, it's resources and status. Resources being the money that you bring, the things that you have, how good of a provider are you? Basically, that's what it is. And status, they want to feel like they're important. They want to know that their husband, the father of their children, are important men, that they represent something. They're the leader of men. They have positions that are envied in society. Yet the two things that a man looks for in a long-term relationship: beauty, faithfulness. Those are the two. Why do you think that is? Because men, we're idiots. We associate beauty with being able to bear children. The more beautiful you are, we assume that chances are the better at bearing children you can be, and the more beautiful and in good health my children will be. And faithfulness, because unfortunately, until recently and with DNA tests, we could not prove if those children were ours. If you're a white guy and your wife slept with a black guy, chances are you can tell. There are certain situations that you could tell, but for the vast majority of times, you couldn't. So having a faithful woman was the thing that is the thing that is still the most valued after beauty. We
Yeah.
need to know that our girlfriend is not our wife, the mother of our children is not sleeping around, so that we know that it's our children. We know that we can trust them. Because we come into, you look at relationships today, women want to show up in a relationship and expect that being a woman is enough. That's enough of a participation within the relationship. You've been ran through by 50 guys, by 100 guys. You are delusional in believing that you can have children in your 40s and it's just the same as having children in your 20s. You treat your body like garbage, and then you wonder why good men look at you and just sleep with you on a Friday night, because they cannot see themselves do anything more than just you being a sexual prowess. If you don't respect yourself, how do you expect other people to respect you?
Exactly.
But we're so delusional, and it's unfortunate because women are paying the price. Because as men grow, I'm in my 40s. I'm 41 now. Probably I'm very close to the best shape I've ever been in my life, and I've been a fighter. So it's a hard thing to say. Like, I fought for years and I was in incredible shape. But I can tell you right now, as a 41-year-old, I attract more women than I ever did. And women know it. You go to places, there's beautiful women. They know a guy that's in shape. They know a guy that's successful. They know a guy that's a man. And this is the thing that most women are going to regret in their 30s and their 40s. You messed around your whole 20s. You treated yourself, you lacked respect towards yourself. You slept around, you devalued yourself for all those years. Men used you, for a lack of a better term. You let them use you, and they took advantage of it. But you'll never be wife material. And then you're going to wonder why you're alone in your 30s and your 40s, while all the men that you spit on, that you rejected when you were young and beautiful, are now intelligent, they've built something for themselves. They've built resources, they've built status. And you know who they're dating? Those 20-year-olds. So it's unfortunate, but those older women, like the one you were talking about, are in for a rude awakening. Because beauty only lasts so long.
Back to Chelsea Handler, I was going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
She made that video. Who's she trying to convince? Other
herself.
people or herself?
Herself. 100%
exactly.
herself.
Exactly.
100% herself. She would not need to speak about this if that was the truth. If that was the truth, she wouldn't need to speak about this. The fact that she is, I agree with you 1,000%, is just simple that she is trying to convince herself that this is the good thing, and she's looking for approval from other miserable women. Or it's either older miserable women or women in her 20s that still has value and don't understand how the next 20 years might be extremely different from, women, no matter what they look like, can probably find a man to sleep with them.
Oh, more than likely.
Yeah. And that they take it for granted. They take that for granted in their 20s and their 30s. But as they grow older, just like the woman you spoke about earlier, they will start to realize that nobody's lining up to date those 40-year-olds, especially not if you have kids. There's no man out there that's lining up to marry you and to be in relationship with you when you devalued yourself for so long.
I was watching a podcast earlier, and I'm not for sure, but I'm going to go by the statistics that they were talking about. A lot of the younger men of this generation are deciding to be single.
Yep.
And
incels. They call them incels.
Well, they're not wanting to get with women because they're afraid of the Me Too stuff. And the feminist movement. And so they're like, okay, well, you tell me that I'm crap, so I'm just going to stay single.
Yep.
And they're also finding that a lot of women that hit about the age 25, and all of a sudden they're not dating the men of their own age. They're dating the older men, the ones that are established, that have a good job, that have a home, have a car, and all that stuff.
Of course.
So that feminist stuff went out the window right there.
Of course.
It shouldn't be that way. I got married when I was 19.
Yep.
Way too young. I should have waited, but
Sure.
I was thinking with the wrong head at the time. But I tell you what, I was married for almost 20 years. She ran off with the younger guy,
Sure.
and I'm not gonna lie, I was alcoholic and I was a drug addict. That had a lot to do with it, but
Sure.
we just got married too young.
Yep.
I had to find myself again, and
Mhm.
it took me 10 years of some really bad relationships before I finally found the right woman again, or should I say for the first time. And I wasn't going to get married again, but when I met my wife, that I just knew, because we were compatible. We had a lot in
Yep.
common, had the same values. She takes her role as my wife very seriously, and she takes care of the household, and I do what I'm supposed to do. And I think that's what we need to go back to. Another set of videos, if I can find them, I'm going to send them to you.
Yep.
But I think they call them trad women or trad wives or something like that. They're the traditional ones that they
Oh,
want to be
trad. Yeah.
home.
That would make
They
sense here.
they want to, stay home, take care of the kids, take care of the household, have the man go out and provide for the family and protect them in the whole 9 yards. They're getting attacked for that. The ones that are attacking her, the feminists, those are the lonely ones that can't can't get a man.
Nope.
We have to go back to tradition. We need to stop fighting that. And there's just some things that I feel like we should keep as a tradition and stay that way. Some things change, but that shouldn't.
I agree with you 100% on that one. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before it swings the other way. It's it's unfortunate. The people that I feel the worst in this are the young men.
Yeah. We failed
I
them.
Yep. Yep. I actually felt I really, really feel bad for them because they are paying the price of our stupidity.
Mhm.
They are paying the price for our ignorance. I don't even think I can call it ignorance, because in today's world, with the access to technology and information that we have, I think stupidity is really the good way to say it. It's just simply amazing, but they are the one paying for it right now. Are the young men out there that can't find a more traditional woman, that are literally looking at passports to go get them in a
Mhm.
different country, and I can't blame them.
Yeah.
I've been
And those
asked this
men are called
question.
creeps.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But they're called creeps by those green-headed, ugly feminists. So does it really matter at the end of the day? This
Not
is,
really.
you know what? My best friend is in that situation. He's 37 years old, good-looking guy, takes very good care of himself, makes really good money, super intelligent, one of the brightest guys I know. More traditional when it comes to that. He's looking for a more traditional woman. Can't find anything. He's from France. Can't find one. He left France because the women there are just absolutely nuts. Um, he came to Canada and he can't find one here.
Mm.
North America is very, very hard for that. And he's in that exact situation. A good guy, a very good guy. All he wants is to be the provider, the protector of a family. He wants to have kids, but he's not going to settle for a woman just to have kids.
Right.
He wants to find the proper woman to have kids with. So I get it. I understand how he feels. Is just, it's hard not to feel bad for these type of men that all they deserve is to have good women to have children with, to take care of. But there's so far in between now in North America that I understand why they're going celibate. Like, that's what my
Mhm.
friend's doing, is just, he's not dating. He's concentrating on becoming a better man, but it's still very sad that you have those men that are ready to do the more traditional role that cannot find a woman that will do their part.
The problem, I believe, is, and this is my personal opinion, that media and society over the past several decades has been preaching to everyone about, just take care of yourself, and everything's about you, and it's all
Yeah.
about your feelings.
If you remove all the societal problems, remove the politics, remove the political correctness, remove that woke movement, and look at, instead of looking at the symptoms, look at the actual problem. And the problem is simple, is exactly that. We don't take responsibility. We were so confused by, oh, but this is not fair. Okay, what's your point? Life isn't fair.
Life's not fair. Everybody
Life
shouldn't
is
get a
not.
participation trophy.
Nope. So you know what? You're a 20-year-old woman right now. You're at the peak of your sexual value. You are at the peak of your existence right now. Don't come in complaining when you're 40 to tell me that life isn't fair. Sure, people have tried to tell you that when you were young, you didn't listen.
Life is what you make of it.
Yep. And if that is the life you chose to live, deal with the consequences today. I'm a very, very spiritual person. I speak to God every day. I have a relationship with God that is my own, that is not one. I'm agnostic. If you look at Christianity and you look at the way the Gnostic, which is the first sect of Christians, were, that was before the church took power. So they don't believe in the church. They don't believe that there needs to be a third party between yourself and God. I
Yeah.
I believe in God. I've been in its presence before, so I know that he is real. But I don't need a priest to tell me how he is, because I already know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I go to church every now and then. I was a keynote speaker at a men's conference in Seattle, not maybe a month and a half ago, and it was in a church. And I got the chance to speak to the pastor. It was a how do you call it?
Denominational.
Yes, exactly. So, and he said something I really, really enjoyed. I did a podcast with him when I was down there, and he said that a pastor is not there to interfere between the relationship that the individual has with God. The value that he brings is as a leader of his congregation. He is just there to make sure that the community stands together. And this is what I find that is missing today, is really the shared faith. I have faith in God. I can go to church and agree with most of what the priest is going to say. I might not agree with his interpretation, but I understand what he's saying. Mm-hmm. I see the value in what he's saying, but I especially see the value of the congregation, of the people that have a shared belief in a faith that wants to make better people better. They want to take care of their congregation. They want to take care of the people that are around them. They just care. They just freaking care. And this part is missing today. We've taken responsibility. Do I believe that there's a God and there's a devil with horns that brings you to hell? I don't think so. I don't believe in the devil. I do believe in the Old Testament God, that he was both good and bad at the same time. To me, God is very good, but can be very bad at the same time too. You don't need to have two different people there. But the point is still the same. We need to understand that there are consequences to our actions. If you live a good life, chances are you're going to be happy. If you live a bad life, guess what? You're not going to be happy. And if you look, take the stories that's in the Bible, for example, for what they are. look at them like a psychological tale, like just a user manual of the human experience. If you're going to be here, love other people the way you want to be loved. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. Help people that you're capable of helping. Be a good neighbor. Be a good husband. Be a good father. It's not that complicated. And the worst part is that look at the justice system that we have in North America, both Canada and the US. It is based on the 10 commandments.
Exactly.
Our system of law is based on the 10 commandments. And you have people today telling me that they don't believe in God, they're agnostic, or they call themselves atheists. And I'm like, you understand that the society that you love so much is based on the 10 commandments that God supposedly gave you for you to respect as an individual. But yet you don't believe God exists. You don't believe in what he is. We are so confused as a society, bro. We are so lost and confused.
Well, even the Constitution tells you that these rights are given to you by God.
100%. Yes, sir. Freedom is a natural right. Law does not need to tell me that I'm free. As a human being, it is my natural right to be free. It's man, we have to do this again one day.
Oh man, for sure. I love this conversation. I like being able to be a little bit more open with these things. And I'm pretty sure we've had some people turning us off already, and probably I'm canceled, but
story of my life, bro. One of my best friend told me something a few years back that's always stuck to my head. To any young man listening to this, or any older man listening to this, when it comes to women, the first question you should ask a woman is for her to give you her fondest memory of her father.
There you go.
If she starts becoming super emotional, she starts crying as she's telling you a story, that woman is mature enough in her feelings. She appreciates a good man. She might be ready for a relationship. Sit down and try to dig deeper to see what her values are. If that woman starts screaming and calling her father name, pay the bill and get out of there as fast as you can. That woman is not for you, brother.
Amen.
Yeah. Always, that one should be written everywhere, taught to men everywhere we meet men.
They should teach that in school.
They should. They definitely should. If that woman does not have a good relationship with her father, or at least made peace with the fact that she did not have a good relationship with her father, and understand that her father is not all men, get out of there. Run. That's just trouble. That is just trouble. Don't even think twice about it. Just run. Pay the bill and run.
Well, Nico, where can people find your podcast?
You can find everything on Nico Lagan on YouTube. It's the Nico Lagan Show on every single podcast platform out there. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Real Nico Lagan.
And you said your book's coming out in the next few days?
Yeah, man. My book Purpose, showing men how to deal with their existential crisis, that is the midlife crisis. How to find purpose. Because as I said earlier, without purpose, a man's life is meaningless.
For any of y'all that decided to stay here after this conversation, I want to say thank you so very much. And if you are new to the channel, thank you for that. But I hope you'll come back. Hit that subscribe button. For my regulars, I appreciate y'all because you make it possible for me to do this. So until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network